You spend countless hours in the garage with your dad. Now, investing in that old car and working on it with your son reminds you of him. And his legacy lives on. Fund your passion with a low-interest home equity line of credit from Bank of Blue Valley.
Hi, Scott. How are you? Look at you.
Good. What's that? Oh, it's Drinks with Leaders time. How are you doing?
You should definitely be in product placement. I think that benefits is the wrong place for you. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? Your office looks absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Have you done wallpaper in the past 20 years?
Yes, actually I have.
You have? It's a sticker now. That's all it is a sticker.
Yeah, shout out to Schweitzer Brothers Painting. But I was, I thought everything was in wallpaper.
Okay, so it's a sticker now. You don't have to do that whole thing with water. So we wallpapered, and by we, I mean Janae wallpapered for me back there and decorated. So now we get to have a little bit more of a professional show, unless you keep doing it from the bathroom at some point.
No, I'm always going to do the bathroom because with children, I think this COVID thing, very serious, but I think during the winter, we'll probably all do a little quarantining. And for me, the bathroom's a quiet place with little kids. And if we can interview Quentin Lucas and former Mayor Sly James, we can do anything.
From the bathroom. All right. So what else have you been up to?
Oh my! Well, I've been hanging out with you and Janae. That's what I've been up to. But no, not much. Just moving. What have you been up to? Are we trying to do banter and then pitch Bank of Blue Valley?
Well, I was going to talk why I said, what are you being up to? Because I was getting back over here because, they've got their event next week, I believe. It is July 27th. So I guess 2 weeks, but the mid-year economic update. So you can go sign up for that at bankbv.com. But that people don't want to miss out. And then we're working on something special with them on the back end, an event you won't want to miss out here in a couple of months. So we got a lot going on with Bank of Blue Valley.
Yeah, the one thing I sincerely want to pitch is if you're not born into the business community, or if you're not an avid reader of the Business Journal, who's a great supporter of the show, being invited to an economic forecast is typically something people do that are financially investing or own businesses. So it's a really unique treat that a lot of people don't do. And with Bank of Blue Valley doing that, they're creating a level playing field so you know what to expect and predict in your businesses. So it's not normal that they bring out the big hitters for a format like this for us all to learn what's going on in the economy. And you'll be able to ask questions. So if you're like, hey, do I want to buy a new house? Or I'm worried about inflation, or is is this industry going to continue to run? You have an expert that's an economist that will help answer those questions.
That's how the rich keep getting richer. Get up on the level when you have anything like this. All right. Let us know if you're watching from Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I want to say hi to a couple people. Hi, Joel. Joel comes every week. I'm such a fan of him. Thanks for hosting. Going to be a great show. And Matt just bought a house as well. Happy Drinks with Leaders Tuesday. Erin and Scott, both your new background. Thank you, Matt, for noticing. We really, truly appreciate it. Let us know if you're here watching and who you're excited. We had a really great panel today.
Hitters, a lot of hitters.
A lot of hitters. I'm very excited about it. So are you ready to bring everybody out?
Let's go.
Are you ready for me to do this? Okay.
Let's dance.
Let me get my music all ready. Sports. All right. Our first guest was told right before by one of our other guests that she has Megan Rapinoe in her gene. And this is Ashley Kendrick. Second guest has a wonderful name, and I'm excited to meet her. This is the first time we've met. Miss Erin.
Hello.
Our third guest today tunes in every week, so this week he's here. Toby. And last but certainly not least, we're super excited to have us join us, Brad Holliday. Hello, everybody.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. All right, well, let's just get to it. Ashley, who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City? And how many times do you get told to make Rapino stuff?
I've been asked for some selfies, but for me, it's a huge compliment. Like, it's Megan Rapinoe. She's like a personal hero of mine. So when they do it, of course, I'm just like, yes, please. We'll pretend as long as they want to pretend. Poor Megan Rapinoe is probably like, who is this chick on Facebook? Taking over my life. But my name's Ashley. I've been doing real estate for like 20 years in Kansas City. What was the last part of that question, Erin?
Who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City? Just talk about yourself.
Okay. I did not want to live in Kansas City, and it took me going into a condo project on the plaza like 20 years ago where my dad lived. It was one of the first like apartment to condo conversions they did, and I just really kind of hit it off with the developers. Even though I was wearing like a Beatles t-shirt and looking like super gnarly, they were just like, hey, let us give you a job. We need some help. And thus plateaued my career in real estate. And I've been, kind of just grinding for 20 years in that, and went from kind of the condo market to doing a lot of just residential to doing a lot of multifamily to also investing, and the story goes.
All right. So first of all, she's playing it nice here. The second I got my mortgage, Ashley and I did not.
I'm the color commentator, and I'm supposed to ask these questions, but I was like, Erin's going to hammer you.
I got my mortgage.
Bring it on.
My mortgage girl, Haley Walsh, who's been on the show, and my commercial landlord for our space down in the River Market. All three of them, I told them I got a mortgage, and they all said, well, you have to use Ashley if you want to get a job in this market. And I had never met her, and they all three told me the exact same name. And I was like, well, we've got to get Ashley then. And she found us first house in this market we got. So, and she just beat, for our friend Jessica Powell, she just beat out 30 offers for Jessica's dream house. So you're pretty good.
I love that you researched that. No, I love my job. I got lucky that I landed into a career that was just meant for me. I wasn't looking for it, and it found me. Some people took a really big chance on me. I mean, I started with Marshall Blount is his name. Upjohn Blount did kind of, I would say they did 80% of the condo conversions on the plaza and surrounding in like 01 through 08. And I got lucky. I mean, seriously, they took a leap of faith, and then I went out on my own in 08 when the market kind of took a dive that first time. I was set up to see if this was a fit for me, and I went out on my own, and I'm just so lucky. Like, I've surrounded myself by people who have, you're standing on the shoulders of giants, as they say. I've been really fortunate to work with great mentors, and I have a great team, and I just love what I do. My wife's a huge support. She helps me in my business, and honestly, a lot of it's just luck and gratitude.
The one quick question I have is the ability to be proactive is just a huge skill set for your industry. What drive, kind of keeps you awake at night that makes you so successful because for you, you're thinking about 10 different things that haven't happened yet, but that could happen for your clients. So where does that drive come from? Because in the market that we're currently in, if you're not 10 steps ahead or being proactive, you're just not going to be the person that helps Jessica Powell win a deal when there's 30 offers. So where does that drive come from, and how do you do it?
So I think that's a two-part answer. And the first is just humans. Like, I'm a relationship-based agent and not a transaction-based agent. I really care about my people. I tell even the two women that work for me full time, I always say, don't ever call with a problem, like call with the solution, because it's our job to take the stress, especially in such a healthy real estate market. It's our job to take the stress. It's our job to figure out the solutions. So my drive is 100% like being of service to the people that I care about, which are my clients. We're a dime a dozen. We're realtors. You can find us anywhere. It's our job to care about our people, and I do. And then the second part is I care about the agents that are out there grinding too. So I actually take a vested interest in learning about the agents that are selling a lot in Kansas City. And I feel like it only helps my clients I feel like the best way to get your offer to the top of a pile is to kind of know the other agent on the other side and know that they have kids or know that they're a mountain biker or whatever they do with their life. I feel like it's a huge value add as a realtor right now to take that time. And I feel like both of those would be my drive. I just love people. So that's really helped me through my career.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is Ashley's you're usually out showing houses at this time. So I've been asking her to come on for a while. So super excited.
It's an honor.
Who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City? And where did you get that awesome picture behind you?
Yeah, you like that?
I love it.
This side. That's an Audubon print. So, yes. My name is Erin Olm-Shipman, and I am also a people person. I love people. I'm also a bit of an idealist. I am a connector, and I am a perfectionist, sometimes to my own detriment. But I am a Kansas City native, and I went to the East Coast for school at Mount Holyoke for undergrad. I couldn't wait to get out of Kansas City. I also did not want to be around here when I was young. Went to the East Coast and then was working in commercial property management. And while I was there, started volunteering at the Museum of Fine Arts and Institute of Contemporary Art in Boston. And that's when I really realized that, I was going to try and make a go of being in the arts. So I came back to Kansas City and loved what was happening here. Ended up going to grad school to pursue a master's degree in art history at UMKC. Go Roos. And while I was there, working at the Nelson, actually, in the American Art Department, I ended up getting swooped up by Sandy Kemper and one of his initiatives, the Collectors Fund. And I was primarily, handling logistics and managing an art collection for a group of investors. But I also started doing some educational programming related to the arts and working with the investors and then building a rapport with different artists and gallery owners and things like that. So really started to kind of find my groove. Hooked up with a couple recent Kansas City Art Institute grads, and we started Bread KC, which was a micro funding organization that democratically supported creative projects here in the Kansas City area. Collaborated with like Charlotte Street Foundation and the H&R Block Art Space, and just an incredible variety of local chefs. Howard Hanna at the Rieger, Craig Howard, Local Pig. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun and really rewarding to see some of the projects that we were able to fund and get going and see where those developed for some of those artists and creative individuals and communities. After a while, I ended up moving out to the West Coast. So did the East Coast and then the West Coast. And while I was out there, I was director of development, so fundraising for the Arts Council of Tulare County, the Arts Consortium. Did a lot of programming there, revitalized some spaces to turn those into multi-use spaces where we use the arts to promote health and wellness and things like that. And then I became executive director of the Visalia Fox Theater, a 1,300-seat performing arts venue out in Visalia, California, which is right in the middle of the state. People always ask where Visalia is. It's like 3 hours from San Francisco, 3 hours to LA. So right smack dab in the middle. Did that for a while and then became a mom. And after a while, decided to move back to Kansas City, be closer to family, friends, support system, all of that. And now I am at Starlight Theater as the donor relations manager. And I started in April of 2020. So that's been fun.
Good time to start.
Yeah, right. A very interesting, challenging start, but it's great. I am so impressed by the community engagement programs that the organization offers. I mean, I realize I'm a little biased, but hey, all throughout my career, my goal has been to use the arts as a catalyst to promote health and wellness and to educate and ultimately to build community. And I think that's really what those programs do. So as donor relations manager, I provide other people that are looking for an opportunity to make a difference through the arts. I provide them that opportunity by supporting Starlight in its programs.
What's one or two events that are coming up that people should be excited about?
Well, events are back, so that in and of itself is pretty darn exciting, I think. But in terms of events that are open to the public, actually next week we have the Illusionists, which is a group of like off-Broadway illusionists, like magic show basically, but it's really, really cool. It's very impressive. You should go to the website and check it out. And then we also have Jason Mraz on August 3rd, 4th, I want to say. Yeah, so that'll be a fun concert.
Well, my family is where you probably recognize my face. We are at Starlight so much because of the theater. So I'm super excited it's back and going, and way to make it through. What a weird year to start, right?
Totally.
Yeah, in April too.
Yeah.
They were hiring in April.
Yeah, I was expecting like a February is what we, everyone will say, and then you're like, April, okay.
Yeah. But hey, it was really a wonderful learning experience.
I feel like it impresses me more about Starlight because that's when a lot of people were scaling back and stopping the hiring, even though they were promised positions, where they still went, like they said, well, we'll double down, right, on our donor relations. So I think that's actually, that impresses me a little bit more. Well, thank you for coming on the show. We're going to get to know each other very well. I'm going to come find you every time I'm there.
Oh, good. Please do.
Toby, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Well, I am Toby Leach. I am a software sales executive for BASYS Processing. / my other full-time job is a youth sports coach. But at BASYS, we really help connect small and mid-sized businesses monetize their processing. So like Ashley said, I'm a relationship person. So I build relationships with software executives and IT people to really help them create another revenue stream on their coming off initial platform. So that's really what I love to do, is have a conversation with those people to help with their processing, with their payments. And it's such an industry that it gets such a bad rap. But we do things a little different here at BASYS, being family owned, and family knows what a net promoter score is. The industry is a negative, more than 84. So I came over here because as a coach, our CEO, Brad Odo, is we call him coach here. So it really resonated with me, with our culture. And we've been growing through this pandemic and building a software platform with all of our bank partners and small businesses. So it's something new every day. And that's me educating myself professionally and personally. It's a challenge every day. And I love it. Change is the constant, as they say. So I've been here for about 3 or 4 months, and along my professional journey, I partner with people that have a great culture, love to give back, and my other full-time job, as I said, is sports coaches. you said big hitter, Scott. We just got in with our tournament, and I coach baseball. I coach my kids in basketball and football. So I've got twin boys. So as you know, that's a full-time job having kids, but I have twins. So I've been entrenched in their world for the last 8 years. Their birthday was yesterday. So it's fresh off the mind of what they do and how I've seen them grow. And how did I get here? That's a great one. A windy road from Lincoln, Nebraska. So go Huskers. I have now lived here longer in Kansas City than I have Lincoln, but that's still home. So I'm a transplant. I came in here to go to school to KU, graduate, moved down to Baker, was a graduate of Baker University, ran track and played baseball there. Tried to leave Kansas City once I moved here in 98. Tried to work for the Baltimore Orioles, tried to work in Omaha when I went back home, but something about Kansas City sucked me back in. And so I've been here since 2005, met my wife, and we've had our kids here. And if you remember back then, that was before Sprint Center got done, or now it's T-Mobile Center. So I've seen Kansas City grow up and really build its community, because it didn't used to be a destination downtown when I moved here. And it's really been awesome to see everything get built, and the condo world. I mean, that wasn't even a thing 20 years ago. Downtown. So I'm a big railroad nut. So I love going down Union Station. I think that's probably what sucked me in.
So Brad Odo is an author. You should go to his office and steal his book and read it if you haven't. And also, you're a fan of Drinks with Leaders. So 2 questions. What, maybe if you can recall, it may be a little difficult, but have you had a favorite guest that has been on the show? You can't say yourself. And then number 2, what's an accomplishment with coaching your kids that you remember, because you just had their birthday and you're probably reflecting on seeing some of their friends. So 2-part question, a favorite guest and your own personal accomplishments in coaching.
Yeah, that is a great question. Jason Holzer with 40 Athletes. I have talked to him. I really work on the psychology. The pandemic in the last 12 months really affected kids. I could tell when kids were literally locked in their house when they got ripped out of school last spring break. So the mental aspect, and so him and I have connected and really had a not just a physical sports connection, but a mental sports connection with how to help with kids on that mental toughness, which baseball is, and I love baseball, but it's 90% mental. So that's my first part answer. Second part answer is we just finished with Sunflower State games. That was our first tournament ever. I take a very slow and steady approach to youth sports. It's all about development with me. So we finished second place. It was our first time we've ever done a tournament, and our kids played well, and it's awesome to see them get something after the hard work they've put in for the last 3 or 4 months. And being 7, 8 years old and not knowing kind of what that looks like, to see that joy come off their face and their parents' face was just an experience that you can't replace.
And did you tell them that Alex Gordon taught you everything? And did you play with Alex Gordon?
So I am 4 years older than Alex. We played in the same group of community. So we tailgate sometimes together in the same parking lot in Lincoln. I remember after they won the World Series in 2015, I went back home and we were exchanging some pleasantries, and I saw little kids come, and they just were infatuated by him. We're just kind of talking just buddies of groups of buddies that we have. And so that was a surreal moment of, I know this dude. And now all these little kids who are my kids' age now are just, they're idols of him. So it was awesome to see.
Yeah. Erin was putting drinks. Yeah. Go ahead, Erin.
I just said, I love when you ask questions you already know the answers to, Scott. The way you ask those questions, it's pure genius.
Oh, yeah. Well, you were putting drinks on his tab on Thursday, so you better be careful and be nice to him.
It's fine. I love sports. Toby, real quick question, and I've been wondering this, so I'm very excited you're on the show. Years ago, I went to BASYS for something, I don't remember, some networking thing or whatever, but I just remember being so enthralled that their business cards look like credit cards. Is that still a thing?
No, our business cards do not look like credit cards. But if you want us to change, we change things on like in software. Like we're doing something different tomorrow because our customers want us to do it. So we're that dynamic. We can adapt to that. So if you want to see that, I'm sure we can make that happen.
I mean, I don't know if you need to change all your business cards. It's probably
just mine.
But it was pretty innovative from a marketing girl. Brad, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City? Brad, you're on mute because we were getting feedback. Now that's on me. That's on me, Brad, not you.
How about now?
You're
Can you
good.
hear me now? Okay. Brad Holliday. Who I am, I'm a farm kid from Kansas. I grew up on a dairy farm northwest of Topeka, several miles. I'm an HR guy. I didn't start off to be an HR guy. I actually wound up in a TPA firm 1,000 years ago after being a college dropout at Washburn University. And I just seemed to have a knack for reading and understanding summary plan descriptions and explanations of benefits. And the clients that we were working with in that particular company were folks in independent telephone companies and rural water districts in the 5 states around Kansas, and their spouses were usually the ones that I was talking to. And somehow that sort of translated into a career in personnel back in the day in Kansas, as it was called. And here I am 30 plus years later.
And so from Washburn, from studying criminal justice to the University of Michigan to going to, is it Minneapolis to work at SPX Cooling? You've had so many high level leadership positions. What's something that's been constant, and you can't say people, that has helped you be successful? Is it what is it that you do that you feel allows you to be such a good communicator and leader?
I would say and thank you for the kind words, Scott. I would say that I am passable at best. I think it's just being open to change. Toby said, I think a minute ago, the thing about change, it's constant, and we have to be. And thankfully, I had a mentor early on in my career that helped me to understand, there's really only a couple of things in this life that we can be assured of: death, taxes, and change. And if I was going to be successful as an HR guy, embracing change and being willing to jump out there and lead change when everybody else wanted to run away from it was one way to do that. And those words meant something then, and I've hung on to them and tried to hang on to them ever since.
So outside of picking a Thursday to come to a cool speakeasy with Erin and I, what are some things that you are focused on personally and professionally for your own growth?
Well, personally, that's easy. Anytime in a saddle on a Harley Davidson that's growth, that's relaxation, that's healing, that's everything.
Do you know Randy Powell? So Randy Powell was a leader at SPX Cooling. I didn't know if you guys crossed each other. He's a big Harley guy. You guys need to hang out.
He's one of my favorite people. You'll love him. That's so scary, by the way.
Yeah.
Be careful.
So personally, Harley, professionally, what do you want to do?
Professionally, there's so much that I guess I should back up. I work for SkillPath. I used to be SkillPath Seminars, now just SkillPath. And I've gone through so many SkillPath professional development seminars, training sessions to this point in my career. Now that I'm here at SkillPath, there's still a number of courses that I would love to jump into and take. I really thought that I was done with my development back when I went to University of Michigan to go through the advanced HR executive program. And you know what? I think that whoever it was that coined the phrase that if you stop learning, you die, or something to that effect, I think there's truth to that. And I think for me, the next thing is I don't want to go back and get any more certifications or degrees or anything like that. But I do think that there's something that I need to do yet in higher education. I just don't know what. I was fortunate to spend the last several years working with UMKC and the Block School of Business, and I was energized every exchange I got to have with the students there. And there's got to be something there yet for me to do. I just haven't found it yet.
How many employees, you keep saying you're just an HR guy, but SkillPath has quite a few employees that you had quite the job on your hands this past year, correct? How many employees do you guys have?
So we're actually down a bit from where SkillPath used to be, because what SkillPath used to be as SkillPath Seminars we used to have a big travel department, great big customer service department, because when you booked to attend a SkillPath seminar, we could manage your travel. We could do everything around having you fly into one of those cities where we would be conducting one of those seminars. Well, this last year, this leadership team, and I just joined in April, so I'm a newbie. This leadership team did a dramatic, fantastic job that I can't believe that Forbes and every business rag in the country hasn't picked up on. They did a hard pivot back in April of 2020. And that pivot was to move from the seminar model of delivery to technology. Hard to believe, I know, but the company had not really been in that technology space. And in a period of 2 weeks, this leadership team and the employees here spun it. And yes, we had some downsizing. We don't have a travel department anymore. The customer service aspect isn't as big. We didn't have to have as many people when you don't have hundreds of thousands of people around the country on any given day going to a seminar. And so we did have to go through some shrinkage during the year. But that is now turning into growth, because moving to that technology-driven platform and getting our content out there has allowed us to experience some great feedback from customers and an increased demand in our content. So as that continues, we see the opportunity to continue to push out more content, taking advantage of technology. We are going to go back out and do some in-person facilitated seminars here coming up. We're thinking August and maybe September. So we're going to explore there and see how it goes. But I personally, as an HR guy, I don't see us ever going back to that same model. But back to your question, Erin, we're at a little over 100 employees FTE, and then we've got a bunch of independent contractors out there that do the face-to-face facilitation of training today.
Awesome.
So a lot of people may not realize that Toby's company is one of the largest payment processing companies in the country. And the cool thing about SkillPath is they're an amazing best kept secret in Kansas City, because they work with all the Fortune 1000 companies in the country, and they work with every branch of government. So one thing I thought was cool was when the Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr, wanted to do diversity and inclusion training. So for you, Brad, what's one of the offerings that SkillPath has that you were surprised by? They're like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't know that we did that.
That's a great question, Scott. But honestly, there's nothing that, at this point, there's nothing that has surprised me, because we have such talented content developers. It doesn't surprise me when I see any of the stuff that's on the shelves.
Yeah, when I'm like, man, they trained the FBI. It's like, whoa, that's great. It's like, it's so cool. And it's just amazing, kept secret, centrally located right off Shawnee Mission Parkway. And just so cool to see everything. And then also with events coming back, you have one of the best places to host events and groups of people as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for joining us. We're super excited. I have a fun random sports fact, Scott. Somehow Frank Keck, who's been on the show, and I don't know all the things, but he is related to Steve Kerr somehow. So he gets to go to all the Golden State Warriors. His sister married or something like that. Anyways, if you're a fan of those guys, you should hang out.
Yeah, he was at Band of Angels this weekend.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about this. Usually this is where we ask our Wendy question, but Wendy has been promoted, and Bank of Blue Valley has Brent Giles now, who will eventually be on here asking questions. We're still working on that. But Ashley, if you're not following Ashley on Instagram, I'm trying to get her more over here on LinkedIn too, but her Instagram is one of the most fun to watch, just because they do flips and they do all the stuff that everybody's watching, HGTV and stuff for. But can you talk about a win this past year that you've had?
Okay, a win this year. I feel fortunate, because I feel like when COVID hit, like selling real estate, it was like, am I even going to have a job anymore? Like, what am I going to do? So I just feel very fortunate. But I think my biggest win this year was really just kind of getting out of the numbers. So I used to I think I built my business on being okay, I have to sell this much volume every year, and I have to have this many contracts going on. And for whatever reason, maybe it was motherhood. We'll call it motherhood. I have a 2.5-year-old son, and my wife's pregnant with my second, who's a daughter, due in October. But I just, thank you. Good job.
That's awesome.
This guy. No, I think my biggest win was just saying, people are going to be attracted to my life and want to work with me if I'm happiest. So I totally let go of volume and numbers. And, I found mountain biking this year during COVID. I became like a crazy mountain biker. Like, I love to mountain bike. I do it as much as possible. I spend as much time with my family, my kids, my friends, my wife as possible. And I just let go of the pressure of volume. And of course, the irony is that my business grew without tracking obsessively these numbers and goals. So that was my win this year, for sure.
So for mountain biking, did you get like all the gear, and then do you spray the water bottle like this and then eat Cliff Bars? Like, are you in the mountain biking, like the culture?
I mean, you're gonna have to follow me on Facebook or Instagram to really see how crazy this gets. But I'm in a Leawood Dad's mountain biking club. We would love some women up in there. So yeah, we're nuts. We have t-shirts, and recently I bought the pads because I thought that I was gonna die with this fall that I want. So yeah, I've gotten pretty nuts about it.
No, I could just tell you have a great sense of humor. So I just
come at me.
It's kind of like I know a lot of buddies that have gotten into biking and they buy everything, but then they never do it.
Yeah,
and so it's just hilarious. So for you, do you think by freeing yourself up from the numbers, did it allow you to think and communicate better and connect with people for your business? I mean, what was the spark that made it better financially and personally? I get the personal aspect, but financially, were you just able to, click on all cylinders when communicating?
Yeah, I think just specifically women, we put all this pressure on ourselves to be successful, and we try and design that success in a lot of ways, and we're taught to design that success. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of value add to that, and I'm not saying it doesn't work, because it does. I built my business very regimentally as well, so I've got to honor that. But I don't know, this year I just removing that pressure and not making this big financial commitment or burden. I'm a way better realtor because I don't put pressure on myself, and because I am living my best life right now. For sure I am. Now, I would never take my own advice. Definitely look at the numbers if you're a realtor, but it doesn't work for me.
Build it up and be really successful, then don't look at it.
Yeah. Let it go.
I have to tell you, the first thing that Ashley told us, we had to meet through Zoom. It was still when it was kind of worse COVID, I guess. And the first thing she said, she was this laid back. She goes, I'm just to tell you right now, in this market, don't get emotionally attached to a house, because that's going to make both of our jobs a lot harder.
I tell my clients to stay grounded. I want them to get emotional, but I always preface it by saying, right now, as grounded as you can stay right now as a buyer is a very positive thing. It's not my job to overpromise anybody anything,
Yeah, one thing to think about before we move to the next question is the people should also think that way if they're in transition when they're looking for different opportunities. Is you're going to go on interviews and you can't get too high and you can't get too low, and you can't overanalyze whether someone returned an email or not. And I think that's not advice enough people get, because they want to flatter their friends and they want to say, oh, they should have done this or they should have done that. But I always say 100 things have to line up on two different sides for people to come together. And just like buying a house, but also just when looking for a new job, people just really have to get that advice that, you may get 20 at bats to find that perfect house or that perfect career, and you can't be too high and you can't be too low.
Yeah, it makes it even sweeter when it's a victory,
To Scott's point too, this is something, I love TikTok. We all know I love TikTok. I put Scott on TikTok on our board we're on.
Yeah, and I've gotten a ton of people that were like, hey, I saw you dancing. Mm-hmm. I was like, what? But I love it. I love it because I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt. That's I think I'm going Hawaiian shirt the rest of the summer.
Well, I put it on TikTok and then I downloaded and put that one on LinkedIn just for fun. But with that, the big trend on TikTok right now that I think is just awesome, because we also have Brad here, and just to remind people, is if you are the interviewer, still send we went with someone else's email. There seems to be quite a few people that just never deliver that message, which I think makes it even harder for those people to stay grounded, right? So that's just a quick reminder, because it's a business show. Erin, what was your win this year?
Well, I would say, as an organization, Starlight, like with its community engagement programs, they typically reach like 30,000 people a year, which is wonderful. That's phenomenal. That's a huge impact on our community. But going virtual during the pandemic and just being able to expand those audiences and everything, I mean, I realize that now I am focusing on numbers, but like we were able to reach like over 60,000 people, and those are just the ones that we could track, so that is pretty awesome in my opinion. On a more personal note, but still professionally related, during the pandemic, because we weren't doing shows, we had a lot of time to, press pause as an organization and think about some of the ways that we were trying to go out and build authentic relationships with the community and partner with other organizations that the values lined up with ours, right, as an organization. And one of the things we wanted to do was launch this business advisory council, Starlight's first business advisory council. Really get kind of the corporate community's input on some of our strategic initiatives. Are these programs resonating for you? Are they serving the community the way that we think that they are? Is there more that we can be doing, and what is our responsibility to the community as a community organization? And I'm happy to report that we just launched that council last Thursday. We had our first business advisory council meeting, and everyone was so wonderful and engaged, and I am just so excited to see where this group will go and what they will contribute and how it will make Starlight and our community a better place for it.
Do they get say on the shows?
Yeah, they can come to some of the shows. Yeah, for sure.
No, I mean, like, do they get say? Like, do they get to help pick out any shows?
Oh, well, no, not directly, but we certainly want input in terms of like the types of shows that we're bringing.
And people can reach out to you that are leaders in the business community that would be interested in joining, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Dean Newton of Delta Dental of Kansas.
He's a big deal.
Yeah, he is the council chair. So he and I really want to build, get like, I don't know, a dozen more community leaders involved in this council. To really round it out and hear a lot of voices. And we're looking for diversity in terms of, women-led businesses, minority-owned businesses, large, small, different industries, different locations throughout the metro area. We want it all. So, yeah, anyone that's interested, I would.
The only one a bigger deal than Dean Newton is his wife, Anita, at Community America, who's absolutely amazing. Talk about a power couple.
Yeah, for sure.
She's been on the show.
Oh, she has.
She's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inventor, executive, community leader. She's the real deal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, Toby. Well, that's awesome. Make sure we talked about this before the show, but make sure you check your messages, because I have a feeling you're going to get quite a few.
Okay, I hope so.
Toby, what is your win this past year?
I think really it echoes what Ashley said. Is I really took a deeper dive at myself personally and professionally. I think being in sales for the past 15 years, you really can get the grind and whether it's transaction relationship based. And I wrote down a few things over the past 12 months. What I came back to was people. and really building a network of people that were not only supportive of what I was doing, but also challenged me to be better professionally and personally. So building that relationship with potential partners, potential business colleagues, and having a network of people that really I could bounce ideas off of, that didn't talk like me, look like me, act like me, had the same personality as me, really build that ecosystem. So that was my biggest win, is building up my ecosystem to help grow both personally and professionally. So, and Scott's a testament to that. I think, Scott, we connected probably like last spring, just talking about just a lot of different things.
Yeah, every coffee meeting I go on, I go about 5 or 6 a day, or host at least a peer group or 2 a week. And my running joke is 95% of people are there to take advantage of you and to perpetuate what they're wanting to do. And Toby and everyone else on this panel is not. And that's what I hope that people realize about Drinks with Leaders is, you know, the reason why we have such a good following for the show and why so many people have chosen to follow it is because we have great people that want to help other people, and not necessarily Erin and I will joke that one of our, in theory, biggest shows was a group of 4 executives. Actually, it was all women, but they were CFOs, and people may or may not have known them, but they I think in total had like 4,000 employees, but it wasn't as interactive as what we're having today. And what we've learned is people that want to help other people, like a Jason, those that want to have a reputation of helping others, or people like Matt or Joel in the comment section, they end up getting more views on LinkedIn. And I think that's something unique we've done with this show is we support givers. And then in return, people give back to the show by wanting to be engaged. I think even the Business Journal, with writing 3 different stories on it, obviously Erin's very well known, but I think they see that the people want to help in the community. So Toby, I commend you on not always, people that are in a business development position are always thinking about what's in it for them, and you're thinking about what's in it for others, which I think in return makes you successful.
And I have one other comment too. I'm a road biker, and yes, I bottle the gear, and I do ride my bike every weekend.
Wait, do you guys do this? Do you don't put it in your mouth? You squirt it.
I've got 2 water bottles, and it's just a squirt. But man, it's Tour de France every day for me. I'm watching that thing every day.
So I do that for Chiefs games with Gatorade, vodka, and then any vitamins. And then you can share drinks. So I was pre-COVID, before pre-COVID, but we would do it like we were working out and exercising. Like, man, this tailgate's bad. I got to reach down to the cooler.
If I've learned anything today, I think that Toby and Ashley have a lot in common, and you guys should be friends, is what I'm learning today, for sure. All right, Brad, what's been a big, you switched jobs. It sounds like you've had a lot going on, but what's been a big win this past year?
I'd say professionally, I would say that being here at SkillPath is my big win. I had been offered a position here back in 2008. We were living in Arizona, and the company that I was with had just been acquired by Aetna, and I'd been offered the position I was offered the wonderful opportunity to leave my beautiful home in Mesa, Arizona, and go to Concord. What state were they in?
Was it like Canada or Maine?
Yeah, well, it was not quite Maine, but it was up there. Go back to Aetna's.
Nothing against Canada or Maine.
Canada's not a state, Scott.
It was pretty close to head up employee relations, and I'm just not an East Coast kind of guy. No offense to anybody from the East Coast, but I'm a farm kid. And our daughter came home from college one weekend and said that she was tired of the desert, which was kind of strange. She was going to Northern Arizona University, and if any of you have ever been to Flagstaff, Arizona, it's not the desert. It's the farthest thing from the desert, but the only time she came home to the desert was to get her mom's cooking and her dad's money, but that's beside the point.
And laundry.
Well, no, she did her laundry most of the time, but
okay.
She wanted to come back to the Midwest and find a Midwest farm boy and start a family someday. And for my wife and I, who both come from big families, that started this grandfather clock ticking in our head family, means grandkids, means we're not going to retire in Arizona anymore, because we were only coming home twice a year to Kansas when we were living in Arizona. So I came back, I interviewed here, was offered the job, but the CEO at the time didn't want to pay any relocation expenses. And I was actively interviewing back here, and everybody else was offering relocation. Why shouldn't you? And his justification was, well, we know you're from here, so why should we have to pay to get you to move back? And so in 2008, I didn't come back here. I ended up going out to the middle of Kansas to a hospital system out there. But it's my big win to come back here and find that it's an even better organization than it was in 2008. And the CEO comes by, every Friday. She's asking me, how are you doing? Are you happy? And I've worked for some great leaders over the last 30 years. Some Tom Kelly at Schaller Anderson, and just some really great leaders. And Michelle Markey here, the CEO at SkillPath, she's really concerned about not just asking, how am I doing against my goals and my objectives, but are you happy? And did we live up to the things that we said to you, that we promised you, or that we committed about the organization during the interview? Those aren't things that I've had a lot of CEOs or anybody at a C level, even when I had that kind of title. We haven't always used that kind of language. And to have that, that kind of lens turned on me every week, that's pretty cool. And I consider that a huge, huge win. So professionally, I'd say that's the big one.
Michelle and I run in some of the same circles. I've never had a chance to meet her. We've been at a lot of the same things. But from my marketing point of view, so she worked her way up to CEO through that organization. But she was always the person doing extra. Like, she went to them and said, I'd like to start a podcast. Podcasts are the next thing, right? In 2017, when I was screaming podcast from the top of the, but I'm a marketing person, right? Most people were like, no way. Like, I've watched her, and I love how that they finally moved her up and really trusted her because she had done all that. So that's awesome to hear that it felt internally as well.
Yes.
I would also like to point out,
you have a Starbucks machine at your office.
That's cool. I would also like to point out, he said he couldn't remember what state, Scott, and you said, was it Canada? Which is
no, I knew he was going up north. Go ahead, Brad. I interrupted you. My company's headquartered in Canada, and actually I had a conversation today that you'll never find better coworkers than Canadian coworkers, because it is so true. It is so true. Being from the Midwest, I feel like we want to help people more than maybe other parts of the country, and we're proud about that. But man, Canada, they make us look bad. They're super nice.
My best friend, they're so nice. My best friend lives in Canada, and today I had a call, and my feelings for her because I'd helped somebody and they didn't reciprocate, which I think happens in business all the time. And this is what she said, and I just loved it. She said, bless and release, block and delete. And that was her whole thing. And I was like, I love it. All right, Scott, it's your favorite time of the show. I pre-warned everybody before you got here that this is your favorite, and we always let you do it no matter how cheesy it is. So it's icebreaker time.
As an entrepreneur, I fail a lot of times, and Erin has to change the show and I mess it up. So these icebreakers can be anything. So we're going to do two of them, one that Erin doesn't like and one that will be new. So we'll see how it goes. Or maybe you do like this question. But Ashley, for you, what is a fast food chain that's national, that is a guilty pleasure that you like? And then secondly, what is a hidden talent that you feel you have or your friends feel that you have? So guilty pleasure, national, it has to be a national chain, cannot be local. Sure. Something we're kind of embarrassed about, but we love. Okay. And what's a talent that you have?
For sure, Taco Bell, because I like to drink alcohol. And I would say if you like to drink alcohol and you've been to Taco Bell at 2 a.m, it's just a good fit.
Well, you can't go at 2 a.m. unless it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but I don't know.
It's a fuzzy mess. But yeah, Taco Bell. What was the second question, Scott? I'm sorry.
A hidden talent that your friends would say you have, or maybe it's something unique that, that cheesy icebreaker at work. You're like, oh, I could do this.
It's it's not that cheesy. I mean, I play guitar. My friends
That's good. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I played for her buddy's wedding last weekend. My wife and I played her like her first dance song. And my friends are like, that's really rad.
Did you know how to play the guitar before you met your wife?
Yeah, I played. My dad was like he was this old hippie, and he made us take like piano lessons when we were like 3 years old. And then as a rebellion at like 15, I go, I'm not playing piano anymore, but I will shred a guitar. And then it's just kind of always been in my back pocket, which worked really well in like early dating days and stuff. And then I met my wife, and it was like, I'm sure that's why she married me.
I'm always jealous of people during dating that have musical talents for exactly what you just said. So that's the purpose of the question, was it before or after? Because it matters. It helps.
Yeah, for sure. That's how I got a ring on her finger.
So Erin, before we have 5 minutes, guilty pleasure, national chain, and what's a secret talent you have?
Okay. Guilty pleasure, I would say Sonic. I really love their grilled cheese on the Texas toast. That's pretty good. And then hidden talent, I'm not so sure that it is hidden to my friends, but I decorate cakes. I'm like a regular old Martha Stewart. And I don't know, I tend to bring birthday cakes, and I've done some wedding cakes and stuff like that for my friends. So that's my hidden talent.
Wow, now I know what you watch on social media, like we all do. I do it as well. Toby, what's a national chain, and then your hidden talent?
Well, my first two were the first two that they mentioned, so I'm going to go with my number 3 because a Coke from McDonald's is bar none. You can't beat it. So I'll jump on the app and go ahead and spend that $1 and roll during lunch. And don't tell my wife if she's on this, she probably knows now, but it might happen 4 or 5 days a week.
So Diet Coke or Coke?
Oh, regular. It's just give me.
Oh, yeah.
Just give me. Yeah, just give it. Don't mess with the unleaded.
Just because Diet Coke's so much worse than regular.
Right. Yeah. Stay healthy with the Coke. Yeah. Talent. Man, every number I see, I can add or multiply them and change it to another number. It's not really a talent, but so I like to watch a lot of sporting events, and I'm just a stat rat kind of person, but I come up with different numbers, adding up different numbers of players that I watch. It's weird. So that's maybe just a weird talent, but I'm a math person, so I love numbers.
Brad, what about you? What's a national chain and then a secret talent?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and music, instrumental, vocal. That's it.
Wow. With what you do for a living at your company, we have, I'm not going to say the name of it because it's a competitor to our sponsor, but they're in the credit union space, and they have a band, and it's been wonderful camaraderie. They've played at each other's weddings. Every time they get together, they play, and you'd be shocked at, who can play the guitar and who can sing. It's a wonderful way to build people together, especially at your huddles or your stand-up sessions or whatever everyone wants to call their get-together, all hands. So Erin.
No, hold on. How fancy is Brad that he said his one is Ruth Chris? That's super fancy.
Yeah. You said guilty pleasure.
I thought it was a smart answer, so I was like, man, I wasn't expecting that. I was like, yeah, that's a good one.
Thank you, Scott.
I like it. You're just fancy. That's all. Mine is always Applebee's. You know that. I love Applebee's so much. I went there last night by myself because I just couldn't tell anyone.
What's Janae's?
Oh, she likes those stupid rolls from Texas Roadhouse. We always have to go there, and it's right down the street now. Thanks, Ash. And then my secret talent is playing poker. I'm very good at playing poker, and sometimes I go to Vegas by myself to play poker and tournaments.
No way.
Challenge accepted.
Me too. I'm in.
Erin, you're going to get a suburban guy invite with cigars.
I don't know if I am if I tell you this. In 2019, I made as much money playing poker as I did in my salary.
See, this is why you do icebreakers with each other, and I heavily encourage everyone to do them. Anytime you get together, you can have a buddy that you just out of nowhere learn something so cool about. That's awesome.
How about you? You say yours real quick. We're running out of time.
So Olive Garden, because they treat you like family, and when they try to charge you for the breadsticks or salad, or sometimes the endless super pasta, you have to call the manager and say, I'm not paying for this. And they say, oh no, it's free. And you just can't believe them. And so my buddies and I, we like to get corsages from Hy-Vee and give them to our wives and take them to Olive Garden where they got the 2-for-1 special. And then this is horrible. My secret talent's arm wrestling. So I can size people up, and if they ever refer to it as polling, don't do it. It's like kind of like you don't want to mess with a wrestler. But yeah, and then balancing a drink on my head, I'm able to do and walk across a bar. So those are the two. Erin, go to you.
Go to me. I do not hate the restaurant question. I just always have to hear the Olive Garden, the whole bit. That's the whole thing. Is that I love it. Real quick, hot dogs. Chris says. Nick says he loves Quick Trip, and then everybody in the world wants a poker thing. And can we get a Quick Trip to? Yes, we can, Jessica. All right. Well, thank you so much to all of our panelists. Thank you so much for joining us. You can connect with them on LinkedIn, Facebook, or on YouTube, and go find Ashley on Instagram because she's really big over there. And then thank you so much to our sponsor, Bank of Blue Valley. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Have a great week.